Hi, I'm Contestant 9473, representing the state of California, Region 3, for the Skills USA 2025 T-shirt design competition. Today, I will be presenting to you my thought process as well as special qualities and details about my design and why I think you or anybody would want to wear it. So let's get started.
Alright, so this is my design, and I just want to give some history and context about it before I go into detail. So this design was inspired by the Undam the Klamath movement, led by the indigenous tribes of Northern California, such as the Yurok, Karuk, Hupa, Shasta, Klamath, and Modoc tribes, who advocated and fought for the removal of 4 hydroelectric dams on the Klamath River, making it the largest dam removal in U.S. history. These dams were built as far back as 1908, and the last one was built in 1962. These dams completely stopped the salmon and other fish from migrating and living in the Klamath River, which not only affected the river's ecosystems, but also the tribes. The Yurok tribe even considers themselves people of the salmon. Then the government banned them from fishing on the rivers, halting their way of life and changing everything for the worse. In 2002, there was a fish kill where over 70,000 salmon lined up in the shores dead. This was the tipping point for many of the tribes, and after many failed negotiations and years of campaigning for the removal, the tribes persevered, and finally, all 4 dams were officially removed in October 2024. And so far, the expectations of the fish, specifically the Chinook salmon, have surpassed everyone's expectations. The fish are coming by the hundreds and swimming freely, bringing back a main food and life source. So this design basically represents the return of the Chinook salmon and the dam removal. So here in the middle is the dam, and it's being knocked down and dismantled, and it's being replaced by something better, a redwood tree. Redwoods are some of the most ancient trees on earth, as well as the tallest trees. They can grow up to 300 feet tall. And to me, they represent vitality, strength, growth, and resilience. Redwood leaves actually absorb moisture from fog and the air around, which they condense into droplets, and it rains down on the soil, keeping it cool and moist. As you see here, there's clouds and fog and mist. That's meant to represent the climate that allows these redwoods to thrive. Most of Northern California usually has cloudy weather like this. I also really love redwoods and wanted to incorporate them somehow in my design, and it all fit together perfectly when I thought of Northern California, as I've lived there for 2 years, going to Humboldt State, and it really changed my life. If you're ever in the presence of redwoods, you can feel their magic. So going back to the fish, Chinook salmon are actually anadromous fish, meaning they are born in freshwater rivers where the eggs flow down the river to hatch, and they live their early stages of life there. So the free germ is one of the first stages right here. Then it's the alevin, and then it's the fry, and then the smolt, which starts to swim thousands of miles out to the ocean and live most of their life there. And here's the adult salmon living in the ocean, enjoying its life, until it finally goes all the way back home to the freshwater rivers to spawn. So this is the circle of life, essentially. It's a cycle, and I know when you think of salmon, they're usually red or pink, but I decided to make my salmon blue. But Chinook salmon are actually silver, and I try to incorporate as much gray as possible, but the colors weren't really showing through and they were looking a bit too pastel, so I just decided to darken it up a bit and make them more defined and prominent. So that's why they're blue, but keep in mind that they're silver in real life. Usually they do start off this color. And then these waters, so Chinook salmon live in both freshwater and salty waters, and that's basically what the difference in these colors are. So I use the darker blue to represent the rivers, and the lighter blue to represent the ocean. And then going back to the tribes, so the Yurok tribe's main goal was to have a thriving salmon fishery like before 1908, before the dams. So that would mean there would be Klamath salmon rather than, let's say, Alaska salmon, as the Klamath River was once the third largest salmon producing river, and it can be, again, all thanks to the restoration efforts of indigenous tribes. Indigenous peoples have the solutions to combat years of colonization and the obstacles faced ahead, and if we listen and return their rights to stewards of the land, amazing things can happen, like the revival of the Klamath River and salmon. Everything is connected, and that is what I wanted to show with my design. It is to show something important and relevant to the state of California. There are so many benefits from this dam removal, and I wanted to pay homage to that. Now there is hope, healing, and restoration happening, which is beautiful and much needed in light of everything. I think my design is meant to educate and inspire, to prove this world can be hopeful, beautiful, and full of life. And this is why I hope people would want to wear my design on a t-shirt. Thank you so much for listening and for your time, and I look forward to your consideration.